Good question. So, yep, every single time we do business analysis, we do competition analysis. So we actually look at who their competitor is and what's popping up. And we mentioned on the last podcast, like the risk of like a new tenant opening up nearby or shopping center competing with that. So you do that as well. Then we even talk to the tenant. So we actually interview them for about half an hour to find out like, how's business going? Are they going to stay on? Who their competitors are they worried about? Like what's the issues with the complex that they're currently like, you find out, I think, and the cool thing is they actually tell you all the negatives because they never actually want to present everything in a perfect light. They're never going to be like, oh, guess what, Sam and Jared, we're making bucket loads of money. We can handle any rental increases you've got. They're normally the opposite. So they actually tell you all the stuff that the agent's not telling you. So you can get some quite valid information out of them there. But yeah, you definitely need to do that competition analysis. Most critical probably on retail because that's where the value is in who the tenant you're buying. Slightly less for industrial if you're getting something with shorter leases. Obviously, if you're buying like a Bunnings or we're under contract on a pet barn at the moment, that's like a 7-year lease. So that's very important who they are. We don't want to lose them because that's the whole value of what we're paying for. But yeah, you definitely need to analyze that. We even pay for ourselves for a credit history check on the tenant just to see if they've ever defaulted or liquidated because that will kind of look at their risk profile as well.
Going on that pet barn one, just like say 7 years time, do you like obviously it's crystal balling kind of stuff, but is there strategies that you discuss with your buyers saying like if they do vacate, to expect 12 months vacancy, or you could do a strata tiling kind of thing where you could sort of build in interior walls, or do you run down that process?
Yeah, definitely. So we look at that. The pro and the con with those, they're normally somewhat versatile because they are generally just a big warehouse. They're painted yellow and they've got the pet barn. So they do have some options down the track. The benefit is the guarantee on the lease is backed by the franchise. So it's probably one of the strongest one. You'll still do some Googling and some research on like pet barn as a whole, because obviously if they're going down the toilet, that means nothing because they might close up shop. But the actual risk we do is we look at what amount of debt we're going to have left on that property if they do leave. For that exact reason, Sam, the vacancies on a big premise isn't going to be 1 or 2 months, probably going to be a couple years top. So, and part of the risk mitigation is we worked out on a 70% LVR on this one. It's on the outskirts of Canberra, just for information. It'll actually have about a 30% debt on it at the end of the 7 years. So, and then basically we just went to our client and said, look, can you handle 30% debt interest rates with no tenant? And we looked at the numbers and they said, yeah, that's fine. Well, cool. This is a pretty low risk one then for 7 years. Even lower risk if they sign the next option and go another 7 years. And then you've got 15 years out and you'll be debt free and you can mitigate the risk completely.
Yeah, no, I like that.